going on, everybody? I don't put my face in front of this camera too often, and it's probably because of this this right here on my face. I had fully anticipated, and I was ready and had my mind right to go to the gym and work out like I do every Saturday. So I drive to the gym, and I'm a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week member, and they're closed today because of a water break or something, I don't know. So I don't really have much else to do. My wife has my daughter, so I'm gonna run to the fish store that we have here, and we really only have one fish store, and they do have quite a bit of saltwater stuff. They're setting up some racks for freshwater, and then we do have a PetSmart here in town, and of course our PetSmart just has freshwater stuff. But this store that I'm going to, it's called the Fish Doctor, and they're only open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I think their hours are 11 to 7. They don't have many corals. At their old location, they had quite a few corals and a shallow tank set up for that specific reason, but they don't have as many here. And this new location that they're at, they haven't been there very long, and Jesus, that glare on my face makes me look horrible. Well, if there's much I can do, there we go. I'm trying to not be too intrusive on the camera, but at the same time drive down the road safely. So once again, the glare is awful because I can't film correctly. I'm just ready to get some stuff in this saltwater tank. It's been cycling for forever, and I know it's my fault because I decided to go crazy with the ammonia and continue dosing whenever I should have stopped dosing at a certain point. But I'm really excited to go to the fish store, and they open up in 2 minutes. So hopefully there'll be somebody there to open up. If not, I'll just wait. But man, it sucks whenever you get pumped up and you're ready to go to the gym. Saturdays are not really, Saturday's a dedicated gym day for me to begin with, but I usually go in there and I just do a little bit of everything minus legs, because I do legs on Thursdays and Sundays. So I do a little bit of upper body just to get in there, and you know, to be honest with you, when I go to the gym, I feel better. I go in, sometimes even dreading it, but today I was looking forward to it. But whenever I leave, you know, I'm ready to conquer the day. I'm ready to get stuff done. You know, if the house needs to be cleaned, I'm super ready to do that or whatever. But it's just easier for me to go work out for an hour and then finish the rest of the day off strong. But they're supposed to be open tomorrow, and you know, it's not the end of the world. I took last Sunday off. I go 7 days a week, and usually I don't miss a day. I skipped last Sunday, and skipping a day is not a big deal. It'll probably actually benefit me more. Kind of sore from yesterday's workout anyway, so oh well. But I'd already drank my pre-workout, and that'll be kicking in probably about the time that I walk into the fish store. So I don't know if they got some raptors up there. Might have to do some pull-ups. If they got, I might have to do some push-ups in there or something. I don't know. That seat over there is rattling something fierce. Let's see if I can make this turn. Welcome to my local fish store, the Fish Doctor. This is in Owensboro, Kentucky. Um, over the course of, I guess, the last couple of years or whatever, I've done my fair share of business there. I'm going to do more. As far as freshwater stuff, they've never really had the Mbuna that I'm interested in. Um, but I digress anyway. This is just a look at, they got a couple 125-gallon tanks set up. Um, there are some coral in there, but basically it's just a bunch of different fish, and it's really nice to have something like this close by. Granted, they're only open, like I said before, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's just really nice to have this option, especially on a Saturday. If you're sitting around and you want to go check it out, because they do trade-ins also, so you never know what somebody actually traded in. And they have some nice pieces there. So shout out to Mass Aquariums. He loves this stuff right here. And I met a guy at the local fish store last weekend, and he swears by this stuff also. So I bought this, and I'm going to throw it in the sump, and we'll see what happens. I wasn't doing any mechanical filtration in the sump, so that's going to change. Here's we got the goby in the background and the peppermint shrimp. That goby, it's a nice looking goby. It's real nice looking. I wish that my tank was a lot more established, so I could pick him up. He's got some nice colors on him. And as you notice, the clownfish that just came by, they're huge. They look like whales. Note to self or anybody else, I used a gallon jug to hold my auto top off water, and it split down the middle. It was a slow leak, but I happened to catch it the next day. So I had a towel up underneath it actually, but I just was testing out my auto top off, and I wanted to use a gallon. I didn't want to use up 5 gallons for fear of it pumping too much. But I got the JBJ as mentioned before, and I actually have that float right there is the float that triggers the pump on. And then that's the line that pumps the water into the sump. This switch right here, I actually flipped the switch upside down, and this will trigger the pump off if for whatever reason the sump level rises. Sensor 2 will activate, and it will not allow the pump to come on whatsoever. I did pick up a new cabinet light. It's an 18-inch LED strip light. I was using just a small LED light, and it wasn't doing what it needed to do. Plus, it burnt out on me. It was a cheap light. An overview of the sump there, my horrible wiring. I think I tidied that up a little bit maybe towards the end of the video. All in all, I really like the JBJ Auto Top Off and the Aqua Lifter. And the first mistake that I made with the Aqua Lifter was I had it mounted high, and it created a siphon. So I had to put the Aqua Lifter low, and that stopped the siphon. Of course, you do not, once the pump shuts off, you do not want a siphon to run. It will pump whatever you have in your reservoir out of it and put it in your sump and overflow it. In my case, my sump will not hold up the full 5 gallons that I have in my auto top off container. Skimmer is dirty, but it's broke in now. I just need to fine tune it, and that'll come whenever I get livestock in there, and it's actually making good skim mate. Right now it's not really doing much, but here I'm going to lift the switch up, and what you'll see happen is first the sensor 1 was triggered and the pump came on. I triggered sensor 2, and the pump will shut off. As long as sensor 2 is triggered, the pump will not turn on. So if you leave the selector on, I believe it's option A on the side of the JBJ Auto Top Off, and you just simply pull up the pin on one of the sensors and flip the sensor around. This is how you get the JBJ to operate in a feel versus shut off type situation. And it's just really nice to have. I didn't want to do my minimum and maximum water level, and I didn't care about putting the second sensor inside of my auto top off reservoir and shut the pump off whenever it got low. If that happens, then that's my fault. I would much rather have the failsafe inside of my sump than worry about the aqua lifter. If something happens to the aqua lifter, then I'll just simply buy another one. It's a small price to pay for not having to clean up a flooded sump area or kitchen floor in my case. Um, that's just the return chamber there. That's once again the switch or the flow, excuse me, the sensor that kicks the pump on. So I think I'm gonna. That's with the light off. You can see how much help that light is, and it's really weird having such a small cabinet. I really can't wait to build a bigger tank because with such small space, I've learned to work with it. But man, I'd give so much to have a much larger area to work with and put equipment and run cables properly. So I am looking forward to doing a bigger setup somewhere down the road. We'll see what happens, but I am looking forward to having a much bigger stand in an area to put my auto top off container and put all of the devices and accessories that I need in there without having to worry about um, space, because that's what it boils down to with this little bitty stand that this 27-gallon cube is in. But the light, I picked it up from Home Depot. I think it's 18 bucks. Picked up a surge protector with individual outlets to turn them on and off. It became a huge pain to unplug the pumps for various reasons. Of course, you'll turn the pumps off for feeding or whatever. And I just mounted it to the back of the stand. I still need to label each one, but I love this thing. I can turn off the skimmer, the MP10, the RW4, and the JBJ ATO top off, and there's 6 or 7 outlets that allow you to turn them on and off, and then there's one dedicated outlet that I have the light turned on, plugged into, because the light has its own switch, and I'll just turn it on from inside the cabinet. But that power outlet is a lifesaver. A lot of people use the DJ power strips, and it just didn't work for me. I was using a 5-gallon jug as my auto top off container, and you can see the JBJ, or excuse me, the Tom's Aqua Lifter sitting on the ground next to it, and that's what stopped a full siphon from happening. When I first set this up, I had the Aqua Lifter up higher than both the reservoir and the sump, so whenever the pump kicked on, it created a full siphon due to gravity. Right here, I'm making more water, and I got a heater in there, and actually have zip tied to the hose of the MJ45 or MJ1200, so that it doesn't touch the bottom of the tote. Another option, as far as doing the auto top off, is running your airline into a bigger tube. What this does is it does not create a siphon due to it allows air to get into the system, and it will not create a siphon whatsoever. So basically, I did move the Tom's Aqua Lifter up and off the floor, so it pulls it from the reservoir, pumps it up to this hose. I think that hose is it's not quite a ½ inch. I can't remember what the inside diameter was, but it's bigger than the airline tubing going into it. And then I just have the airline tubing shoved into the hose. This hose, probably an inch or two. And another thing to think about is you do not want any kinks in this hose. It will stop the flow from happening, for lack of a better term. It's once again, I'm stuck in a situation where I'm trying to figure out and get things to work in such a small area. So excuse my horrible bread clip and wire and zip tie, but here I got a bag of carbon, and I'm an idiot because I failed to wash this stuff before I put it in the sump. I don't know what I wasn't thinking anything, to be honest with you. I simply threw some in a bag, and I got kind of sidetracked with something else, and then I just dropped it in the sump. And whenever I turned back around, one of the chambers was completely black. And yeah, I said that's where I messed up. I failed to to rinse it out. And of course, you can see I'm using a mesh bag that it's a drawstring bag, and I'm testing out multiple ways to do this without losing the media inside of the sump. It floats, so I got most of it out in such a cramped area, but nonetheless, I'll more than likely pick up a reactor at some point. But this is the flow from the auto top off. So you can see it's a good flow, and whenever it shuts off, I mean, it will shut off. It will not create a siphon. So I highly recommend doing this if you're worried about it whatsoever. Just go ahead and spend a couple dollars and get a bigger hose. You can do this with anything. You can run another PVC pipe and drop the airline tubing in it. But you saw that the pump shut off, so we no longer have water flowing down it.